Hi there, it's me, Teacher Mike from PhuKetPals.org. In this lesson today, what I'm going to teach you is how to pick the right words for IELTS Writing Task 2. This all ties into the lexical resource part of the band descriptors. And as you all know by now, lexical resource is worth 25% of your total score. If you are not sure what lexical resource means, it basically means your vocab, range, and accuracy. What does that mean? Well, your vocab range just means, do you use lots of different types of words, lots of higher level words? Do you use things like collocations? Do you use things like lexical chunks? Do you have a repetition with your vocab? And things like that. The accuracy, the vocabulary accuracy part means, do you use the right words in the right contexts? And does it all make sense? And does it feel natural, the way you use your vocabulary? So let's jump straight in. On the left here, you can see the most common topics that come up in IELTS Writing Task 2. We have globalization, public transport, education, traditional culture, environment, health, development, youth crime, government spending, technology, and criminal justice. Okay, now the reason I've put these up again is because these can help you greatly when you come to dig out your new vocab for during your IELTS preparation. Now, what I advise students to do is use these common topics in IELTS Writing Task 2 to make a notebook or a spreadsheet for lexical resource. And I'll chat a little bit about how I advise my students to do this and what works best for them. Let's say you pick the globalization topic and you're at home and you want to do some preparation for writing task 2 or for the IELTS test in general. What I advise students to do is go to one of 3 websites. Now, these are not exclusive websites. There are other websites you can use too that are equally as good, but I always recommend my students to look at these 3. The first one is the BBC website, bbc.com. Okay, second one is Newsela, Newsela. And the third one is The Guardian. Okay, The Guardian, Guardian. Just Google those and you'll get them. And what you should Google with them is the common topic. So Google BBC, globalization. Google Newsela, globalization, or The Guardian, globalization. And then you'll get loads and loads and loads of well-written quality articles that you can read extensively for your practice. Okay, now when I say read extensively, this means you should be reading 3 of them a day. Okay, you're not focusing on every single word in there, but you're trying to get a general overall understanding of what you're reading, and you're also highlighting on your computer, or if you print it out, as some students like to do, you can use a highlighter pen or whatever, highlighting high-level vocab words that you're not sure about, singular words, okay? And you should also highlight collocations in there as well. As you will quickly realize, when native speakers write, they don't just write with individual words. The individual words themselves are written, but they have a collective meaning. Often these meanings are phrasal, that's like a phrase, or it could be a collocation where 2 words go together to have a meaning. So in the globalization topic, you might get things like economic meltdown or economic collapse, or things that 2 words that go together that have a definite meaning. These get you higher level vocab points, and I advise when you go through your reading to highlight single words and collocations as you go along. Okay, and you do this for all the different topics, the common topics for writing task 2. Now, it's very important at this stage that you organize yourself at home for your preparation. Too many students just waltz into these activities and don't really organize themselves well enough, and they get a little bit from it, but they don't get as much as they should. So what you need to do at home is, if you're an old school paper and pen person, then get yourself a nice big notebook, or if you prefer to be on the computer, you can have a spreadsheet open Now, you divide your notebook or your spreadsheet into these different sections here. Okay, so globalization, section 1, public transport, section 2, and leave plenty of pages in between. And on those pages, then, as you go through your preparation at home, your extensive reading with the BBC or The Guardian or Newsella, you will then start building up your lexical resource areas, topic by topic, as you practice at home. And what I advise you to do as well is put a line down the middle of each page. Okay, put a line, let's say you start with globalization topic 1, put a line down the middle of the page. On the left-hand side, you're going to have singular words. On the right-hand side, you're going to have lexical chunks. Okay, and you need to organize this new vocab, this new lexical resource very, very, very carefully. Otherwise, it's difficult to remember. But the most important things are that you keep it, as you can see, topic specific. So you keep all of the lexical resources for, the globalization in one part of the notebook or one tab on the spreadsheet. Same for public transport, same for education, etc. That way your vocab is topic specific. It means that you'll be learning how to use that word in its correct context. And that means when you come to use it again in writing task 2 of IELTS, you have a much higher chance not only of using the higher level vocab word or words well, but also in the correct context. And that gets you the points for grammatical range and for grammatical accuracy. Okay, now I'll show you on the next slide how to kind of organize this a bit better, but you'll need to have the word or phrase, as I said, 2 columns. You need to have a definition for it. You can put in 2 or 3 synonyms as well if you want. However, be careful of synonyms. Some people might argue there are no direct synonyms in English. Some of them can be a little bit off, and you might lose the meaning within a context. So maybe, if you want to put in some synonyms, you can, but just double check that, particularly with a tutor, if check with your tutor if these synonyms work within the context you're trying to write about. And you need example sentences as well. Okay, so let's have a look. For the globalization topic, I would have words or collocation like economic imbalance. That will get you good points from the examiner. Definition of that: when wealth and resources are unevenly distributed. Example sentence: globalization has exacerbated global economic imbalances. Okay, the other big word in there is exacerbated. That just means made worse. Globalization has made worse global economic imbalances. Globalization has exacerbated the gap between rich and poor in the world we live in. Okay, made worse. Okay, very often exacerbated is used in a negative context. So, you could say smoking has exacerbated the number of people who have cancer. You might say homelessness has been exacerbated by homelessness was exacerbated by the financial crash of 2008, 2009. Okay, so made worse. That's what exacerbated means in a negative context. Okay, next you might have World Trade Organization. Okay, all around the globalization topic, as you can see. Definition: an international organization based in Geneva that monitors and enforces rules governing global trade. Example sentence: for example, the World Trade Organization, WTO, is now under fire for failing to take into account labour standards or the environmental impact of trade. Okay, so that's, again, in your notebook, you've got your 2 columns, topic-specific vocab. You use your reading from the BBC, The Guardian, or Newsella to pick out these words and phrases. Then you write down the word, you write down the definition, and you give it an example sentence as well. And there's a bit more you can do that I'll show you now. Okay. Many students say to me when they're doing their reading at home, how do they know if these words are high level, or how do they know they're the words they should pick out? Surely is it better not if this teacher just gives me lists of words for each topic, each common topic in writing task 2. I advise against this. Of course, you can learn, you'll always find top 20 words for this topic in IELTS or top 10 words. However, it's better to learn them yourself through using your reading, because then you'll be able to use them again in a correct context. If you're just learning single words from lists, you're highly unlikely to be able to use it effectively in a sentence. Um, Also, I find if you're reading these words and making a a database like we're doing in our notebooks or spreadsheets, you'll be seeing these words a lot. You'll be writing them out, and you're much more likely to remember the spelling and how to use the word when you do the extra work. Okay, so word lists, okay, they seem like a shortcut, but there is no shortcut, guys, to a lexical resource higher score. So if you want to get over that band 7, 7.5 up to 8 or whatever, you need to put in the hard work, the groundwork that I'm telling you about today. Now, a useful little tool for you all is Cambridge Dictionary that you get. It's free online. Just Google Cambridge Dictionary and you'll get it straight away. This is a really, really cool free resource. This is the URL for it. In there, it'll give you definitions, parts of speech, examples, related words, and collocations, lexical chunks. Now, that's like any dictionary, but something that the kind of unique selling point or the USP of this particular resource is that it tells you where the vocab word is in relation to the Common European Framework for Languages. Now, if you're not aware or you don't know what the Common European Framework for Languages is, just Google it, okay? Common European Framework for Languages. Common European Framework for Languages. There, it'll show you the different levels, from beginner up to elementary, going through to pre-intermediate, intermediate, upper intermediate, advanced, and proficiency. Most of you who have studied English a lot, especially with language schools and things like that, you'll be aware of these different levels, I'm sure. If you use Cambridge Dictionary, it tells you your level on this scale to the left here, as you can see, B1. So I just typed in the word development, tells us it's a noun, it means growth, and then it gives us a B1 on the Common European Framework for Languages, which is pretty cool. So it means that when you pick out your singular words from your reading, you can then type them in to Cambridge Dictionary and see what level they are, okay? And depending on the grade you want to get for IELTS, depends on how high up that scale that you go. However, this may seem great on the surface, but don't fall into the trap. Please don't fall into the trap of only looking for higher level words. Okay, you can't do that. If you do that, you'll get into this kind of rhythm of making mistakes. With it's just like learning word lists. Actually, you'll fall into the trap of looking for the biggest words that are the most obscure words that rank the highest on this. Don't do that because they're too difficult to spell, and you'll make mistakes with using them in context as well. Okay, so be selective and don't overdo it with this. Okay, but it's definitely worth using in your practice. Again, this is what it looks like inside the site itself. I search development here. We can see here noun. You get a UK and US pronunciation. It's probably best, well, it just depends whether you learned UK or US English, which you prefer. You will not get marked down. You will not get marked up for having a UK pronunciation in the IELTS test. Some people think you get more points for that. You don't. Just make sure you pronounce the word right. There you can see the score on the Common European Framework for Languages. Then you get a nice definition. Then we get good examples here, example sentences. And then we get over here, collocations that you can use. You can put in your notebook or spreadsheet tabs. And you get more examples down below here as well. Okay, so it's all here, and you can learn lots about how to use the word in context from this page itself. So it's very, very useful. I strongly advise that you use it. Okay, so let's say you've been building up your notebook, your topic-specific vocab for a few weeks to a month, and you want to put all this into practice. Well, what do? You practice your essays with topics in mind. Okay, so when you go onto Google and you want to practice a full essay for task two, don't just type in, IELTS writing task two essay prompts or essay questions and do a random one. Don't do that. Make sure it fits in with the vocab areas, the common topic areas that you've been working on in your notebook or spreadsheet tab. So there could be globalization, it could be education, whatever. But type in, globalization, IELTS writing task two essays, and then pick out 4 or 5 of them and start writing full essays about topic specific essays. And that way you'll get to recycle your vocab and pick up your lexical resource score. Okay, so always as well have your subject-specific vocab at hand. So whether that is your little notebook, bring it to the coffee shop with you. Make sure if you're waiting for the bus or you're on the bus or whatever, have a read through, read the words in context, just constant repetition of this so you get it into your head. I would attempt also to use at least 10 words or phrases from the list in your essays. Try and get as many good words in as you can, good phrases in as you can. The more you use them, the more natural it will feel. Next point is very important. Find a quality IELTS tutor and get feedback and model answers. Okay, if you're interested in this, you can see we're Phuket Pals. You can hit us up on Facebook, send us a message, and we can. We've been in the game for, as I said, for over 10 years with our school. I personally have been teaching IELTS for over 15 years. We can look at your essay. We can tell you, according to the band descriptors, what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and how to improve. Then you can rewrite your essay, give it back to your tutor, and see if you've got better. And you will get better doing it this way. Your tutor will also give you model answers. So they'll give you a model answer for that particular essay you've just done. And these are invaluable for you. You have to keep these, store them very, very safely, and learn from what your tutor has taught you. You can even ask your tutor to use exactly the same vocab, topic-specific vocab that you're aiming to use, and that way you can learn everything from your tutor. It's a fantastic way to build up your writing skills and your IELTS writing score. Next point: rewrite and rewrite. I always say this to my students here at Phuket Pals with IELTS essays or any essays. Don't just keep picking new essays all the time. Don't pick a new one every day, as some students like to do. Pick one, use your vocab in your notebook wisely, or your spreadsheet tabs, and then write it, give it to your tutor, look at their recommendations, rewrite again, give to your tutor. Do this 3 or 4 times until you make it the perfect, as perfect as you can make it. And this way you'll get a lot more out of the writing process itself. Also, keep your practice essays and highlight the new vocab. Okay, so you need to keep a new folder. And again, keep your folder divided into topic-specific areas. So economics, education, etc. And all of those practice essays that you've rewritten and rewritten and rewritten, store them all together in a topic-specific part of the folder, and highlight your new vocab and read through as much as you can. Read and reread model answers from your tutor. Okay, these model answers will help you out much more than you think, and it's always good to read well-written essays, well-written IELTS Task 2 essays, because it gives you a feel for kind of higher level language and how a native speaker would do this. So strongly advise you to keep reading these model answers. Also build up a bank of model answers for each common subject area in your folder again, just like you did with your own practice essays here. And I've said this before, never try to learn vocab lists. It's a waste of time. Learn words in context. We've covered that already. And I'll finish this slide with a quote from Ludwig Wittgenstein. He's famous for kind of saying that the meaning of the word is how meaning is use. Okay, the meaning of a word is kind of is got from how you use it within the context of what you're writing. Okay, so he said, Meaning, it can be defined thus: the meaning of a word is its use in the language. The meaning of a word is its use in the language. So be careful with those vocab lists, because if you use those words incorrectly in the wrong context, it can change the meaning of the word itself. So topic-specific vocab, get those notebooks flowing, get your extensive reading flowing with BBC, etc., and put in the hard work. You will raise your lexical resource score for sure. Final thing today, final thoughts, just on the right here, this is the Common European Framework, a very basic version of the Common European Framework for Languages. B1, B2, C1, C2, and you can see how that corresponds with IELTS scores there. And you can use your Cambridge Dictionary, as we've already discussed, to kind of see which level on the right here you need to get the higher scores. So you're looking at over C1, C2 here to get the higher band scores. Okay, you can play with that at home. Let me know how it goes. And then finally, realize you have to remember that learning vocab takes time. This is not a quick fix. Okay, anyone who tells you there is a quick fix for raising your lexical resource score is talking nonsense. You have to put in the work and do everything I've told you in this video today, and you will make it happen. You will raise your score. Give it a few weeks to a month and see how it goes. But put in a few hours every day, and you'll see the results. Be careful of so-called Band 9 words. I call them the illusion of Band 9 words. Students often come in who have left their preparation too late for IELTS, in particular Task 2 essay, and they'll say, give me the Band 9 words for globalization, give me the Band 9 words for education. Again, you're going into wordless territory here, and we've talked about that in this lesson already. Stay away from this type of practice. You'll get little from it, and you'll make mistakes. Next thing is start today. Okay, it's all well and good watching this video and listening to me talk and finding out different techniques and what you can do to raise your lexical resource score for IELTS Task 2, Writing Task 2. But you have to take action. You have to start today. Get that notebook going. Get those tabs on the spreadsheet open and make sure you're doing your extensive reading and making it all happen. Okay? And the final thing, avoid word lists. We've covered that already. Okay, so that's about it for the lexical resource component for this video. I hope you found it useful. I'm Teacher Mike from PukatPals.org. Have a good day. Thank you.